This episode was sponsored by EPOS. Hey guys, what's up? It's Karl, and I have finally logged enough time in both next-gen consoles, of course the new PS5 and the Xbox Series X. The number one question I get here on social, kind of everywhere, which is worth getting and which console is kind of my pick of the litter. And I'll start off this video by saying you should pick the console which your friends are playing on. Gaming is such a social thing that even if you have the next-gen console, pick one of them. If you're the only one on them, I think that detracts a major part of the entire gaming experience. And whichever console you do end up deciding to get, I kind of want to talk about the audio experience. So when EPOS reached out to do this ultimate comparison, they wanted to focus on their new GSP gaming headset line. I think these are the best gaming headset headphones that you can currently get. And since we have the entire line of the GSP gaming headphones, I can technically only use one. I'll be giving a couple of these away, so just let me know what console you would pick or what's your favorite game on the next gen series. I'll pick a couple of you down below in the comments and ship some of these out. And to the actual headphones themselves, the only difference between the 500 and 600 line is the open versus closed back. So the closed back design, it isn't active noise canceling, but because the seal is so good, you won't hear any external distractions. You can really dial into whatever you're doing. So my personal fave is the 601. I think this white/black design is pretty dope. It fits that next gen gaming console look. The plates are interchangeable between white and bronze, but the most important thing is the overall feel, and these are some of the most articulating and best feeling gaming headsets that I've kind of ever used. So like most headsets, you can adjust the overall size, but they have these contact pressure points that you can adjust so the headband feels comfier on your head. They've got a volume control toggle on the right, and out of any gaming headset that I've tested, this probably has the best in class, or probably the best sounding microphone that I've used on a gaming headset. Once again, fully articulating, and if you don't want to use it, you can always slide it back up. It comes with a braided cable, which you'll just stick into whichever controller that you end up picking. If you're experiencing next-gen gaming, I think you really want to focus on some of the audio quality, so do yourself a favor and grab a decent set of headphones. Okay, so back to the actual consoles, we're gonna quickly glance over price. We're gonna focus on the Series X. I won't even mention Series S. So Xbox, $500, PlayStation 5, $500. This is the non-digital version, so you can still stick some sort of CD, I guess Blu-ray, whatever you want in the optical drive. So pricing is essentially the same. Let's talk about the actual design. I know there's a lot of controversy around the looks of both. The Xbox, it's essentially a large cube, a rectangle. It's simple, it's minimal, it's my preferred look. If any of you know me on the channel, I really like clean designs, and this gets the job done, whether it's standing upright on the side. The PlayStation, on the other hand, this one is either you love or you hate it. It looks like an oversized router. It is actually a lot larger than the Series X. Pretty decent size difference, and I think most people will have these living, say, next to their TV, next to their gaming monitors. I think the Series X design is a lot sleeker. It can fit into more places. Don't get me wrong, the PlayStation 5 looks different. It's maybe growing on me slightly, but it definitely has a different, we'll leave it at that, a different look. The next important thing, controllers. So we'll once again start off with the Xbox. The Series X, or I guess Series S controller, they're the exact same, is pretty much identical to the last gen Xbox. You can see my older one from my One X here, and I also have a sickly addiction to Xbox controllers, and I think Xbox really took the approach here, if it isn't broken, why fix it? I think we just have the extra addition of the share controller. Some of the triggers have extra grips to help you out. This controller doesn't really feel like I've made that jump to next gen. I feel like that's a theme in general with the Xbox. It's almost like a slight refresh or an update to a bit of a newer device. Whereas on the PlayStation, this is switching completely in a new direction. And you can really see that with the controller. They've even moved away from the DualShock controller, which I think we've had for the past 3 PlayStation models. It is now called the DualSense, and I think PlayStation absolutely smashed it out of the park with this controller. It's a completely new redesign, and it actually looks very similar to an Xbox controller. It just has the dual, or I guess the even level control sticks. It's more ergonomic. They've really focused on some of the nice detailing, so the grips on the back are actually all of the symbols from PlayStation. They've got these really cool adaptive triggers, so depending on which game you're playing, so say Call of Duty, depending on the type of gun, that controller or that trigger will actually correspond to the type of gun you're using. You get a lot more of haptic feedback in the controller depending on what's going on in the game compared to the simple rumble found on, say, the Xbox controller. super impressed, and you're talking to someone who's a true Xbox fanboy, so I think PlayStation did an awesome job with this. Next off is obviously the performance. How do these kind of stack up? And honestly, these comparisons have been done or overdone across the internet. No matter which game you're playing, they look absolutely drop dead gorgeous on either. I will say, if you want to take advantage of next gen specs, I would say the most important thing, because both consoles can support up to 8K, both can get up to 120 frames, is to have a TV or a gaming monitor that can fully take advantage of that. Most TVs are capped at 60 hertz. I think the new LG models, I think those are $4,000. Those can go up to 120, but really focus on a gaming monitor. I think you'll get the best benefit out of either console. So I'll leave mine linked down below. Mine's an LG. If you really want to experience next gen, that switch between 60 to 120 FPS, that has been the main reason most people have switched to PC actually in the past half decade. So to take full advantage, the first thing that I would upgrade is to have a proper monitor, or of course TV if you can ball out and afford one. And I will quickly note on the last spec comparison between either, the Xbox comes with a terabyte and the PlayStation only comes with a weird number, 800-ish gigs of storage. Still kind of clueless to why PlayStation decided on that, so maybe a slight half a point jump up for the Xbox just for having that extra little bit of storage space. The next big thing to consider, and this could actually be your main driving point, is exclusive titles. So of course, we've got the likes of, say, Halo, Forza, Gears of War over on the Xbox. So if you're partial to playing those games, if you're invested in those franchises, the Xbox is the way to go. If you like games like Last of Us, God of War, the new Spider-Man game, which I think is the best looking game that you can currently play, you're obviously going to switch over to the PlayStation. I would say the 95% of the rest of the games are kind of playable on both. So if you're rocking Call of Duty, if you're rocking Fortnite, they look great on either device. So don't let that be the deciding factor. It's those exclusives that you really have to kind of know about. And the last selling point is the subscription service for both. So Xbox has Xbox Game Pass. I think it is leaps and bounds ahead of PlayStation Now. You've got instant access to hundreds of games from their Xbox One library, even their 360 library. But more importantly, you get instant access to all of those exclusive Xbox titles. So for example, that next Halo that's coming out, the moment that drops, if you are buying Game Pass for I think $5-6 a month, you can get that. So if you actually look at that membership, $120, $130 a year, that pays for itself in around 2 to 3 games, which you'd probably get anyways because they're so good for the Xbox. Over on the PlayStation, you just don't have those same benefits. You do get access though to older titles. So for example, I'm a huge Ape Escape fan. That's the one game that I've kind of loved playing the most growing up, and that's probably the game that I've played the most, sadly, over on my PlayStation. It's cool to have access to those, but in this category, the Xbox with Game Pass is the clear winner. And also for performance, what I've really noticed, both of these consoles actually do really well. They are absolutely silent. And I couldn't say the same thing for the last gen PS4 or even Series X. Those things sounded like they were taking off into space. So that has kind of been my comparison of the next gen console wars. If I were to pick one, I think a lot of you know, I'm a huge Xbox fan. That leads back to my initial point. All of my friends are on Xbox. That's why I'm sticking to it. That's despite the fact that PlayStation has by far the more superior controller. It's got some awesome exclusives. I'm able to play Ape Escape. If you lived in an ideal world, you could honestly have both. So let me know your thoughts down below on which console you would end up picking. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully it helped you decide between Xbox or PlayStation. We'll catch the rest of you in one of my next vids. Peace!